Welcome everyone. Welcome to the fourth week of Castilla y León box. This is the final and the last week, and we're tasting this guy. 2020, 2020 Alvar de Dios, Camino de los Arrieros, Arribes Tinto is what we're tasting today. A lot of Spanish words, a lot of mouthful. But before we get started, just a few announcements. Also, Jesselyn made sure to make a point that this black guy right here, it was not caused by domestic violence. It was a rough play with a dog where I got headbutted like right in the eye by my friend's dog. So yeah, it's I did not step out of line. Uh, I mean, I do usually, but she did. It's one of those. She wanted to make sure that I tell you all that. Anyways, the next Tuesday is a delivery slash pickup day. So the next month is going to be what I'm calling salt box. It's going to be all white. So for you red lovers, sorry, it's going to be all white. But I've been going down on this rabbit hole of what makes wine salty. So it's just an excuse to kind of put a box around it, and then figure out, kind of do a nerdy deep dive on it. But even if it wasn't for all the nerdy reasons, it's gonna be fucking August in DC. It's gonna be hot as shit. You know, I think a high acid salt box is a good thing to have anyway. So anyway, so next month is gonna be salt box, just so you guys know. That's really the only announcements I have. Yeah, cool. In case you're just joining us now, we're tasting the last and final wine, which is of the Castilla y León box, which is 2020 Alvar de Dios, Camino de los Arrieros, Arribes Tinto. By the way, Camino de los Arrieros literally means like the path of like a mule driver. Not exactly sure where the name exactly comes from, but anyways, that's what it is. Alvar de Dios is the name of the winemaker. Uh, all right, so just to give a quick review, let's actually share the map first. Show the map. This should look pretty familiar. You guys have seen this many times by now. Um, so where we've been spending time this whole month is right here, Castilla y León. This is kind of like a northwestern part of Spain, right? Um, the first week we were in León or Tierra de León up here, right? With the Albarin Blanco, high plateau. This is all pretty much inland, very continental, extreme temperatures, very hot in the summer, very cold in the winter, right? But here is a high plateau area. So that elevation gives it what gives the wine a freshness here. And then for second and third week, we were in Bierzo. So second week, we had Raul Perez, the serious kind of a Bierzo Codeo that we had, that beautifully like minerally lean and cut, very structured kind of a white wine, textural white wine that we had from Bierzo. And then we also had the red wine on the third week, which was the Mencia dominant field blend from here. And then what makes Bierzo special is that now we're moving out of the inland, going more towards Galicia. So, and then this is right up against the mountains. So we're talking about mountain wines, basically alpine wines of Spain. You get a lot more Atlantic influence, so it's much cooler here. But you get the warmth from the inland, the continental warmth that comes in, which ripens the grapes, but all the rain and the coolness and the wind that comes in from the Atlantic side, which cools it all down. So you get this balance of the really beautifully ripe fruit, but also this fresh acidity, which one makes Bierzo special, especially also in the mountains, the slopes with different expositions, slopes and different things, different soil types, which one makes it delicious and different. And then to wrap it all up, we're gonna go to this little very unknown. Quite frankly, I have never had Arribes until I was tasting for this box. But yeah, we're right here, right up against the Portuguese border. This is where Duero River, which is the river, it's the same river, because it goes from Duero, which is what they call it in Spain, to Douro, which is what they call it in Portugal. But it's the same river. It originates in Spain and it flows out through Porto. But Duero, same river, but they call it Duero in Spain and then Douro in Portugal. But that's where we are right here in Arribes. This is a little known appellation of kind of extreme western edge of Spain, as you can see, right up against um, Portuguese border. The landscape here is like super steep, rocky, old, dramatic. I mean, if you ever been to Douro Valley, it's very kind of extension of that. This is what it looks like. So these kind of steep, granitic kind of river cliffs. This almost looks like AI generated. Doesn't even look real. Um, but if you ever been to Douro Valley, this is kind of what it looks like. The Douro Valley runs, and then there's these steep kind of a vineyards that are planted on the side. Here it's not so much right on the riverbanks. It's a little more inland from the river is where the vineyards are. But nonetheless, generally, this is kind of what it looks like, which is pretty insane. Um, it's very difficult to farm, as you can imagine. Very much in isolation, just because of location of where it is, right? Which is right here. Just here for centuries. I mean, wine has been made here for centuries. Romans have planted. I mean, Romans planted all those vineyards along the Douro Valley, and the same thing. They continue that on in the Arribes as well. Um, but also the difficult farming and a rural kind of depopulation nearly erased the region. But a recovery kind of began in the late 1990s, and Arribes officially got its own DO status in 2007. So we're talking about a pretty new DO. For the longest time, it was just kind of a part of just a general regional wine region. Didn't have its own DO, but finally got its own in 2007. Soils here are mostly sandy granite, kind of decomposed granite. So that kind of granite that you saw in that last picture, but decomposed into a sandy kind of a very fine particle is kind of what you see. But it's not just that. That's mostly what you see, but there's also variety, including slate, quartz, sand, mica, red slate. So depending on the parcel, so it's quite varied in terms of soil type. The microclimate, however, is probably because of this Douro River, the proximity to the Douro River, it becomes markedly more Mediterranean here with a warm summer and moderate winter. It's much less extreme than the inland Castilla y León, producing wines that are much more agile, kind of fresher, more lively acid. I mean, we'll talk more about this when we get tasting it, but like when you pour this wine out, even just the color of it, like you would not think that this is a Spanish wine. Like most Spanish wines don't have this kind of translucency and the lightness to it. This is very much about the power and the boldness. So yeah, and then this is kind of what you see here in Arribes. The main grape varieties grown here are something you probably never heard of. I've never honestly heard of it until I was tasting for this box, which are grapes like Juan Garcia is the main grape, key grape here. Rufete is another one, and Trincadera, which is also the same grape that makes port. It's a part of the grapes that make port, which kind of is no surprising knowing how close it is to the Douro River and how close it is to Portugal. This is kind of the place of old mixed vineyards, nearly forgotten grapes, altitude, granite, slate, shares kind of culturally, also shares a lot of culture with Portugal as neighbor. So, but stylistically speaking, the wines here are not these kind of polished showroom kind of Spain. It's more of a like the way I think about it is it's very rustic. The wines here, they're elegant, they're fresh and lively, but there's something really, it's kind of like a charming, like a farmer's charm kind of a wines. So it's like a Spain with a dirt under his fingernails, kind of a style of the wine that you're going to see here. Speaking of which, let's talk about the winemaker, the farmer himself, which is this dashing young gentleman sitting on a 100-year-old bush vine trained. I believe that is actually Juan Garcia that he's sitting on. But anyways, this is Alvar de Dios. So Alvar de Dios grew up in El Pago, a small village on the southern edge of Toro, where his family had farmed vines for generations. And in case you're wondering where Toro is, it's right here. Um, So, I mean, it's also a very popular, very famous region. I mean, Toro as well as Ribera, but Ribera del Duero, this is where very heavy, extracted, ripe, punchy, like powerful Tempranillo-based red wines come from. Ribera del Duero obviously is well known for that, and Toro gets even more high in alcohol, high octane, more powerful because it's even warmer here. And that's where he was born and that's where he was raised. And he didn't necessarily care for that style of wine. So rather than following Toro's traditional kind of big, powerful style wine, he decided to actually leave and go to Sierra de Gredos, which is actually, I may be putting a box around this actually. I'm actually trying, but it's hard to find all wines from there. But Sierra de Gredos is actually, do you see this mountain range that runs right here, just outside of Madrid? This is Sierra de Gredos. This is a mountain range that runs in the middle. And here grows this high elevation alpine garnacha, which is Grenache. So Grenache, usually when you think of a Grenache, you're thinking about southern France, right? Southern Rhone, like Côte d'Rône, Château de Topape, these really big, powerful wines, right? But Grenache is also able to produce this really elegant, ethereal, very perfumed, like the elegant kind of a style when it's grown in a cooler, higher altitude. And this is what you get right here in Sierra de Gredos. There's also Albio Real, which is the white grape that grows here. Anyways, it's an area that I've been kind of eyeing, so I'm trying to actually put a box around it. So again, a lot like Arribes and Bierzo, the stylistically speaking, the wines here are markedly different from the rest of Spain, where it's all about power and extraction. So he went there and trained under the kind of this quote unquote new wave Spanish winemakers. They're the Fernando Garcia and Danny serving as their cellar master. But then he began restoring his family vineyard in Toro, starting it right after he became a cellar master there, which included a plot of ungrafted vines planted by his grandfather in 1919. So he does make some wine, really old vine wines from Toro right now still. But he started his own winery in 2014 and expanded that into Arribes in 2015. And he was really attracted to Arribes because of all that kind of abandoned old vineyards, slate, granite soil, all the things that we just talked about. Nearly kind of forgotten native grapes that nobody really pays attention to. And he wanted to go work with that. And he also realized stylistically, the wines from Arribes is much similar to the wines from Sierra de Gredos than it is to Toro. So this is really what kind of drew him here, even though he's from Toro. So today he farms a total of 5 hectares split among 36 parcels. So that's 5 hectares, which is not big. It's very, very small production. Uh, um, yes, very, very small amount of land that he farms, but it's also split among 36 parcels. So we're talking about very, very these tiny little plots of these really old, these his vines, even the bottle that we have tonight, it ranges from 40 to 100-year-old vines. So very, very old vines. He farms organically, biodynamically, and he's essentially about restoring kind of these old vineyards, showing a lighter, kind of wilder, more elegant side of Western Castilla and Leon. And I'm very grateful because these are the kind of wines that I tend to drink and enjoy. And it's markedly different from the rest of Spain, which I really appreciate. So, what is this wine? Let me actually get out of sharing. So what is this wine? It's a blend of Rufete, Juan Garcia, Trincadera, Merenzao, which I've never even heard of, Mandon, which I also never heard of, and other old vine strays mixed into the vineyards, all 40 to 100 years old vines, around 750 meters in elevation. Just talk about some of these grapes. So Juan Garcia is the Arribes signature grape. It kind of brings that kind of juicy, dark cherry, black fruit, a little bit of herbal savoriness. It's kind of regional identity of Arribes. If you ever get a bottle of Arribes, most likely it's going to be Juan Garcia dominant blend, which is exactly what we have today. Rufete is probably the second most important grape. It's kind of a pale, fragrant, high in acid, so it adds this kind of like a tart red cherry, cranberry kind of a note. Obviously adds more acid to the wine and lifts it up. And Trincadeira is, like I mentioned, it's the Portuguese variety. So we're talking about that goes into port production. So um, contributes kind of like a darker fruit, pepper, spice, dried herbs, earthiness, more structured tannin, and things like that. Maranzal, which is also known as Bastardo, so also known as Trousseau. So Bastardo is grown in Argentina as well. Trousseau is grown in Jura, it's France. Adds kind of that like the red fruit, strawberry, red cherry, kind of floral, savory thing. And then Mandon, which I've never heard of until I tasted this bottle, supplies bright acidity, crunchy red fruit, violet-like aromatics, and a peppery edge. And just like a lot of these kind of old abandoned vineyards, there's no monocropping here. So all these varieties are just kind of planted all across the field. So there are other unidentified local grapes that are in this bottle that they don't actually even know what it is. So some of the vineyards contain numerous straight reds and possibly white varieties. These add extra layers of aroma, acidity, texture, rather than one easily identifiable flavor. So yeah, it's kind of a field blend, very traditional. Of all that, but it's mostly Juan Garcia, Rufete, and then Trincadera, and then a bunch of other things. Um, and then so it's a whole cluster, all indigenous spontaneous fermentation in 1,000-liter French oak vat, foot pigeage. So pigeage is a fancy French word for basically um, punching it down with a foot and then aging it, aged in 500-liter barrels and then 1,000-liter fougere. So these are all both fermented and aged in a neutral oak barrels and gigantic oak barrels. So rather than stainless steel that we've been dealing with a lot this month, we're now moving into the full wood fermentation as well as aging. Bottled unfiltered, unfined, just a touch of sulfites at the end at bottling and no other part during the winemaking is basically what we have here today. Any questions about any of that before we get into the tasting? Cool. How many of you, just out of curiosity, have had wine from Arribes? Yeah, right? I've never had Arribes until this wine. So cool. Excellent. Then we're all tasting it for the first time together. All right, let's taste the wine. Who wants to take the appearance? Also, I don't think I'm alone in saying this, but I feel like the wines taste better when the winemakers are hot. And I feel like this winemaker is very hot. Uh, who wants to take the appearance? Oh, come on, somebody.
Okay, can you hear me, Un? I'll take the appearance.
Excellent. Can you see the grid? Can't tell. Can you see the grid, Dana?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. Sorry. Clarity. I think this is clear.
Yeah, this one is clear.
Yeah. Very clear. I would say medium.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
a medium minus.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't go any more than medium, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's more than
Medium.
pale, but it's not definitely
No, no, no. It's not like, yeah,
super
like,
deep or anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
purpley. No, this is more, it's like a really pretty.
Yeah, I like the color too.
So yeah, so kind of like a maybe more ruby.
Yeah, I would definitely call this ruby, but
Yeah,
I do think when I pour this,
there's a bit
I
of
just pour a little
garnet.
bit at the very first. More I pour, it's less noticeable, but it's still there. But there's a little bit of like a coppery orange hue to the wine, which I don't mind, which I think is actually really nice. But yeah, it's ruby with a tinge of like a orange coppery kind of a hue is what I would say to this. Any other
Like the
observations?
cheese in it. I'm sorry. No, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I opened it up an hour ago. It didn't like have a strong, kind of a lot of sometimes they like it has to blow off. I tasted
Mm,
it pretty just to see what it tasted like.
yeah.
It
Cool.
was nice. So
Yeah. Those sediments, nothing else. Cool, cool.
more
You get to pick the next person for the news.
Sam and Annie.
There's Sam and Annie.
Hello.
Is this your No, you've gone through the grid at one point.
Yeah, I did the palette one time.
Yeah. All
So
right.
this is the
Well,
second time.
let's do the nose.
Okay. Um, it's clean.
This one is clean. This one is
Um,
sound.
I would say like medium intensity.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm like smelling just off the edge of the glass.
Yeah, I'm like right there. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is like just off, like only half an inch intense. So yeah, I'll call this medium as well. Medium
Yeah.
intense. Aromas of. What do you got?
I get like something floral in here.
Yeah.
I've been struggling to put my finger on it. Maybe like lavender. I don't know.
Okay.
But I feel like I don't know, yeah,
So
exactly what it is,
in
but
the world of wine, and we'll put lavender in this kind of herbal kind of a world down here.
okay.
You see like
Okay.
lavender, thyme, rosemary, things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do agree with you in terms of floral. Like there's something very pretty, like lifted here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe like I don't know, rose.
yeah, like I was thinking more like a rose, violet, somewhere along
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, no green fruit for me.
no green
No
fruit.
citrus fruit. No stone fruit. No tropical fruit.
Hmm.
I would say for red fruit, like maybe cherry and plum.
Yeah, totally. I think red cherry, the red plum, I get a little cranberry here as well.
Yeah,
I get a
yeah,
little pomegranate. Yeah, like definitely red fruit.
yeah. Um,
Any
and
black?
I'm getting some black fruit as well, I
Yeah.
would say. I think like black plum as well. You know,
I don't know if you Aussies also
berry.
have this word bramble, but the British bramble to me is like a very like a berry that is like unidentifiable. It's not black, it's not red, it's
Yeah,
both.
yeah,
To me, there's like some brambliness that's going on here.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, definitely tinge of red, black. That's the trincadera that's coming in. But
Hmm.
yeah, definitely the bramble, but mostly red fruit, which is all that Rufete, Juan Garcia for sure. Nature of the fruit.
Um, I would say to me, there's like fresh fruit in here, but almost like maybe a bit of like jamminess as well.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I there's like maybe some herbal element in
Yeah.
here for me as well. Like maybe that's why I said the lavender.
No,
But
totally.
yeah.
Absolutely. There's definitely a like a herbaceous savoriness here. But before you go into that real quick, I just want to say something about the
Sorry, yeah.
nature of the fruit real quick. You're totally right. Like this is really fresh, really ripe. It's not there's nothing
Yeah.
underripe.
Yeah.
If anything, exactly like almost like cooked like a confectionery over top. But
Mhm.
a lot of that is because where this is. I mean, it's just all that warm, all that Mediterranean. Again, it's not as warm, hot as it is in the inland, but it's still very, very warm here. So
Yeah.
underripe is never the challenge here. Overripe, if
Mhm.
anything, is a challenge here. So
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, let's get on to the herbaceous and herbal you were saying.
Yeah, and then I said I think there's definitely something herbal in here for me, which I feel like is why, the the lavender was um
Yeah. Yeah, I think this lavender, I think is a good call.
yeah.
You may guys think, man, I'm crazy here, and this may be because this is 100% whole cluster. This is all stem
Mhm.
inclusion here as well.
Mhm.
With the stem inclusion, I get they say the word spicy, but it's not spicy like the peppery or anything like that. But there's certain it's like whole stemmy spiciness. It's very
Yeah,
hard to describe, but
yeah.
it's certain it's almost like I get like a touch of like tarragon, kind of like that kind of
Mhm.
family of herbaceous here. But there's
Yeah.
definitely some like a herbaceous herbal savoriness is going on here for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that I feel like, I would say that there is like a pepperiness here, but I also was feeling like there was some kind of like spiciness that I, couldn't quite put my finger on. So
Mm,
maybe
mm,
something kind of similar. Um,
yeah,
and I feel like there's maybe like a like minerality here as well.
100%.
So
Exactly.
um
There's a lot of crushed
yeah.
rock here. I mean, to me, this is a granite all over. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of minerality running through. And that's exactly like when I mean, you saw the pictures of what that place looks like. I mean, all that
Hmm.
granite, all that gets decomposed. The sandy part is just all that granite rock just decomposing into sand
Yeah.
particles. So we're talking about very infertile, very not much organic matter, just basically like rocks, very poor.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely get a lot of minerality from wines that are from here for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Any secondary, any tertiary?
Uh Not really.
Yeah, me either. I think
Yeah.
this is still, I mean, this is 2020, so this is 6 years in. But
Hmm.
to me, this one is still very much right here in the primary all freshness here. There's not much of secondary or any of the tertiary that's coming in really.
Yeah.
So cool, cool. Good job. You get to pick the next person for the palette.
Um, does anyone want to go?
What'd you say?
I said, does anyone want to go?
Oh,
Um, Otherwise I'll pick on you, Julia, because you're the only other person camera on. Sorry.
That's okay. I respond better to like being told what to do, you know. Okay.
all right. Take us through, Julia, Dan.
Only Julia was called on, so
Dan. Um, this wine is dry. Um, Acidity, I don't get too, I mean, it's medium, maybe the high end of medium.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I'm going all the way to medium plus. But yeah, high to medium. There's a good amount of acidity here. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not anything low, but yeah. I will agree with you. I'll call this medium as well. Tannin?
So I would kind of say medium minus,
No.
despite like it's a super soft tannin, so maybe that's throwing me off. But like I don't get that much in my mouth.
Huh?
Swish it around.
I get some. I mean, there's like a
There's
chunk
some grip here.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very silky, very soft, very fine grain, but there's definitely some tannin here. I'll call this medium, but yeah, it's like lower end of medium, high end of medium minus, right around there. But on an exam setting, I'll probably call this medium in terms
Hmm.
of tannin. Move it around, like really listerine in your mouth. Like I still feel it in my front teeth. Alcohol.
It doesn't feel
Seems like medium,
hot to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
like
12,
12,
5 or
12, 5 or
That's what I say. Yeah, 12.5, 12, 12.5. So right down the middle, medium. So that's another thing. It's the first of the wines in all this month that we've gotten below 13%. So You know, for Spain, for this part of Spain, for it to get to 12.5, it,
Yeah.
it's a very, again, stylistically, very different from the rest of Spain. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Body.
I mean, it feels, I don't know. Sorry, I have to drink it again.
Um, say lower end of medium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say.
Light.
Like medium minus medium, somewhere around there. I
Yeah.
could wait either way, honestly. Uh, Mousse, we don't have to talk about, obviously. Flavor intensity.
I mean, it's got, I would say higher end of medium.
Yeah, that's what I would say as well. Medium, medium plus, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Now, do you confirm everything that Sam said? Is there anything else that stick out to you?
Yeah, I think on the palate, I don't get as much of the black fruits. It's like I think it's mostly the red fruits, and
Yeah.
I get the cherry, but I do think like cranberry and pomegranate. I'm like, again, just because there's something at the end that is a little, I don't know, kind of like not bitter, like kind of chalky or something that I feel like
I
makes me.
mean, so I was just gonna say, there's definitely some bitterness here. There's definitely some
Mhm.
phenolic bitterness here. I mean, with the tannin, we're talking about medium earlier, like with a little lifted, elevated tannin, there's definitely
Yeah.
some of that. Uh, what I was gonna say was tasting it and then smelling it. I mean, it was, a lot of what we talked about is red fruit with a touch of black fruit in there as well. But tasting it, like it's really like I just love there's certain like a crunch factor to this wine. Uh,
Yeah.
it's not that like the crunchiest red wine that's out there, but considering again, this is Spanish red, this is Spain. The fact that it has this much lifted and acid, this much crunchiness, this is like elegant, agile, bright red. I don't know. I'm enjoying it a lot. Um, but what I'm also noticing about uh, is a balance between all that fruit. The fruit here is so ripe. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing ripe here. Like super ripe. You can tell this grew up. The fruit was raised in a very kind of warm place, but it has all this acid, lighter bodied, and then like that kind of juxtaposition, as well as all that savory herbal notes, and then the bitterness to kind of balance all that like a ripe fruit out, which I really enjoy about this one.
I'd also say that at least to me, like there's kind of like a softness to the flavors here, and
Yeah.
like that's I think we're used to wines like this being made in stainless steel, and like that maybe that's where this is coming from.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was. Dan, I can't believe I'm like beaming with pride right now as I'm hearing you say this thing, but that's exactly what it is. It's fermented and aged in neutral oak, which gives that roundness, that softness to the wine, for sure. If this was done in stainless steel, yes, it would be probably even crunchier, but it would be much sharper. It wouldn't be as round and soft as what we're seeing here, for sure.
I was also going to say like I was drinking it as you were talking about this like field blend too, and like
Mhm.
as you were explaining, I was like, oh yeah, like I can sort of taste all these different grapes in here. Like it,
Yeah, exactly. This is not. So if you guys ever read like a wine tasting notes, you will hear a lot of people say like this wine is very linear. What they mean by that term is that it's basically all the flavor, these different flavors, oftentimes in a blend, all these different flavors are very standing on its own, right? It's like a beautiful salad, right? Like I've given this analogy of like a beautiful like citrus salad with a grapefruit, orange, tangerine, and different things, and where you get to pick out each different elements and like has its own flavors versus things like gumbo or like stew, things that have been cooked for a long time together. So you cannot really pick out each individual component of that, but the beauty of that is all the flavors have just kind of melded into something different. And to me, this is that example of very linear wines. It's like you get to taste the different kind of varieties that went in there, and all the different flavors are basically standing in its own box, so rather than just kind of melding into one. Which I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it just stylistically it's that, which is I personally like the linear wines, but not everybody does. So cool. And then also the thing about, and this is not the only Arribes wine that I tasted, this is the one that I just like the most, but all of them has this thorough common thing that runs through all of them, which is the minerality. Like it has all this grapefruit, great fruit ripeness and concentration, all of that. But beyond all of that is this like a rigid mineral backbone that stands there, which is awesome.
Yeah, on the palate, like I think you keep the minerality. I don't think I have a hard time finding the herbal notes as well, or like the spice notes.
Mhm.
But yeah, the minerality still
Yeah,
is super strong.
there's a ton of rockiness there for sure. Any secondary, any tertiary?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I'm actually surprised that 6 years in, that this is drinking like still very, very fresh up here. Cool. How long is the finish?
It's it's decent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say medium plus probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna call. Yeah, the length is actually quite there. I'm gonna call this a medium plus as well. All right, bring it home for us. How good is this wine? Justify it, and would you age it?
We said it, it's pretty balanced.
Mhm.
Um,
So
medium plus intensity.
it's got a decent amount of complexity. I forget the other things that we consider.
So concentration wise, intensity wise, we call it medium on the nose. We also call medium, somewhere between medium plus on the palate. So like medium, maybe like slightly towards medium plus. Complexity, no secondary, no tertiary, but a bunch of things in the primary, right? So we got some flower, we got some red fruit, touch of black, herbaceous note, minerality, all that. So at least medium, I'll call that, right? And then the length, you call it medium plus, right? So balanced, medium to medium plus intensity, medium complexity, medium plus length. So when you take average all of that, we're landing somewhere between medium plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd round up to very good on this one.
Yeah, exactly. Being a generous taster that we are, or at least I am, that we're gonna call this very good. But if you call it good, I think that's totally understandable. And for what it's worth, this wine was, or if it means anything to you guys, this wine was scored 93 points by Wine Advocate. So, there you go. Now, would you age this?
I mean, you could. I mean, you could. I don't know for how long though, because it's not.
I mean, it's got tannin.
Yeah.
I would be curious to see where this goes.
I'd be terrified.
Like it's already been 6 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think you could put it down for 5 more years for sure and see like
That's what I was gonna say. About 5 more years, I think I'm actually surprised at how fresh this is drinking at 2026 as a 2020 wine. So I think, 5 more years, I think maybe you will start to see some of these fresh fruit turn a little tired, maybe dried out a little bit, which may add a little more complexity. So I think it'd be interesting. But given the we called it high end of medium, lower end of medium plus acid, medium tannin, so decent backbone. So I don't think it's gonna fall apart anytime soon. So yeah, I'm with you, Dan, that I would give this about 5 years to see where this goes. I think it's drinking beautifully now. I think the wine is tasty now, but I think that in 5 years with a little bit of that complexity, just to add another layer, I think would be interesting to see. Is what my call on this wine would be. Cool, excellent, good job, everyone. Did you guys like this wine?
Yeah.
It's delicious, right?
Yeah.
I fucking love this one.
I really liked both your red wine picks.
Yeah.
This box, honestly. Really.
Okay. Which one's the Bierzo, the Mencia. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, both reds grown on granite, Sam. Maybe some common thread there. Um, did anybody not like it? Just out of curiosity. Huh, interesting. Okay. I mean, I think this wine is delicious, but any questions? Any disagreements? Cool. Um, let's play everybody's favorite game. How much do you think this wine is on a retail shelf? How much would you be happy paying for this on a retail shelf? Tiny production, 5 hectares, unknown region, unknown varieties. How much? Called it very good. It's already 6 years old. Can age for another 5 years. We called it 39.99, 45. Damn. All right. Chinese allspice. Oh, interesting. I just saw that. 24.28. Anyone else? 35.40. All right. And this wine on the retail shelf, no one got it exactly, but it would be $30. For $30, I'd be very happy getting this on a retail shelf. I'd be stoked if I paid $30 for this wine, for sure. Cool. Anyways, hopefully this month was kind of I know it wasn't like a main, but here at Six Wine Club, you're never going to see really like a mainstream wines that feature in a box. I'm always going to throw in a little bit of curveball and different things, but I really try to show different side of Spain. Not all Spanish reds are these Tempranillo, Rioja, Tempranillo base, big wines and big garnachas and big ripe, over the top. That you are able to find these kind of elegant, high acid, much fresher kind of stylistic expressions. And obviously these are not the ones that they get all the they don't get any real play in the main street wine media. But so don't just follow the mainstream hits, just dig a little bit deeper and then you can find these kind of different areas. It's always in the fringe that you find something interesting and different, at least in my experience in the wine world, in life in general, but definitely in the wine world, that by going to these kind of unknown regions, you get to see different side of that country's wine. And I think this box was particularly fun because of that, because it's so different from the rest of what you would normally think of as a Spanish wine. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, there it is. That is a Castilla y León box. Especially in a region that nobody really talks about when it comes to Spain as well, Castilla y León. I mean, unless you're talking about Ribera del Duero. But yeah. Which one, just out of curiosity, which out of the 4 wines this month was your favorite or least favorite, or one that kind of caught you off guard the most or surprised you the most? So we have the Albertine Blanco, the very first week, the Alza. And then we had the Raul Perez, the Bierzo Codeo, the second week. And then we had the Bierzo Mencia, third week last week. And then we had this week.
That week number 2 and week number 3 were my favorites.
So
And
Bierzo, you are a Bierzo woman.
yeah,
So, yeah.
both of them. I think I
Okay.
particularly, that was the week that I wasn't on. I listened to it later and was really, really liked that white.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite boxes of this year so far.
Whoa. Castilla y León is your
Yeah.
favorite box?
Well,
Woo!
yeah. No, this was I liked this box a lot. I mean, it kind of built right? Clearly did that on purpose, but the first week was okay. It was good, but
Yeah.
definitely week two and this is great. I mean, I love this one too.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like if I got this blind, I don't know where I would go in the world. Like it
Yeah.
is so very singular. Um, like I definitely would not go Spain, you know. Um, but it's like a Spanish mountain wine with like a Portugal thrown in there,
Yeah.
little sprinkles of Portugal thrown on top. It's a fun.
And I guess I liked the last week's red. It was that bramble and geranium. There's
Yeah.
something about that wine. It just was so good. It was just so good.
Good.
I really
Anyone else?
like both the reds, but I feel like this second week white really grew on me. But it's funny because Un, I feel like you chose like three kind of salty wines in a row. There was like the last wine of sherry, and then the like first two white
Uh-huh.
wines, both red is like kind of salty to me.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I'm like very curious to see where we go with the salt box because I feel like we've been kind of getting a lot of that recently.
Oh yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know.
I personally like salt. Like I like salty wines.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can tell.
As you
And
can
the
imagine.
second week one was, I think, like definitely my favorite of all the kind of like, I guess, wines that we've tried that were reading saltier to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Good. Yeah, I mean that Raul Perez, the Godeo that's a stunning wine, honestly. Such a well-made wine. And it's a very like everything else it's a lot more demure, let's put it that way. It's like there's a lot of different subtleties there. Like you have to really kind of sit there and like pay attention to what's happening. The other ones I feel like a little bit louder. But you know.
Well, and like the first week wine, like you mentioned, it was like super structured. Like it was like really sharp, like week one, you
Mm.
know. And the others, while like they all had their distinct, kind of whether it was regional, kind of the terroir, but that over the course of the month, just felt like it got. There's definitely a lot of structure and acid and stuff like that, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought about the sequencing quite a bit when I was putting it together, like how
yeah.
I should do this, but hopefully it made sense. I was trying to, the first week was I was trying to get it as close to the mainstream style of Spanish wines as possible, and then just go further and further and get weirder and weirder. Like this is the most, like tonight's bottle is the furthest departure from
I
probably
love the weirder end of
Spain.
it.
Yeah, so yeah, I was starting to. I mean, even the first week's wine is not mainstream Spanish wine because like that's not what you would find, especially for white wine. But yeah, it was as close as you can get, and then I try to move you guys even further out into the weird land. So, um, cool. Any questions about any of the four wines, about any of the regions, any of the wines, or any or non-wine related or anything? Cool. Well, hearing none, I'm gonna stop.